Her Grace, Syamarani Didi, who is definitely a treasure for all of us. She has given the world, priceless treasure. They say, they say a picture speaks 1,000 words, and her pictures have 1,000, probably infinite stories. And Vasanti Didi, I see that you are unmuted. I know that Her Grace is with you. So please turn on your camera. You have half an hour, Didi, to speak. Haribol.
Agyanam timirandasya Gyananjana salakaya Chaksurunmilitam yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Twadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namah Yang pravarjantam anupetam apeta krityam Dvaipayano virahakataruva juhava Putreti tanmayataya taravo banedus Tam sarvabhuta hridayam munimanatosmi Bhaktya vihina aparada lakshay Shiptasya kamadi tarangamadye Kripamayi tvam sharanam praparyam Vrindehi namaste Sharanarvindam Tavaivasmi Na jivami tam vina iti vigyaya radhe tam nayamam charanantike. First, I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad, Astotra Sat Srimati, Srila Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad, Astotra Sat Srimati, Srila Bhakti-Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. To our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, to all of his divine associates, and to all the amazing assembled devotees. In 1992, I said to Gurudev, when I'm in my institution of ISKCON, because I was going to visit Srila Gurudev 2 or 3 times a week. I'm very senior. I was one of the first disciples of Srila Prabhupada from back in 1966. But when I'm in your Sangha, that was my first year in his Sangha. When I'm in your Sangha, I feel junior to the junior. So I said, what to do? Shall I keep going back to imagining that I'm a senior, or shall I be situated in the reality that I'm a junior? And he told me, when you look one way to those who are junior to you, then you can think, I know something and I want to give something. But when you look that way towards your guru, you think, I know nothing and I want to open up and hear everything and learn everything. So now it's 30 years later, and I was originally thinking that now I'm a senior in Srila Gurudev's Sangha, because most everybody in the Western world joined Srila Gurudev after I did. However, especially now that I'm hearing all the beautiful realizations and spontaneous expressions and pristine, sacred philosophy of all the devotees on this Zoom conference, even Ananta Krishna Prabhu, he's joined in the late 2000s to Gurudev. I was just extremely impressed by his appreciation with full Siddhanta and ras, and understanding the Guru Parampara, and understanding Gurudev's gift, that he opened up the door to everyone. The Mahabhagavat has no walls. He's for everyone. And before that, Charachandrika Didi. So anything that I was thinking of saying, even these two said it. What to speak of all the devotees that I've been hearing for the last couple of days. Just immaculate Siddhanta, knowledge, humility. I'm extremely impressed. And I'm, as many devotees have expressed, the unity that Srila Gurudev wanted so bad and appealed for so many times. I'm so much experiencing that unity and harmony this year, and particularly in these Zoom conferences where Lithuania comes to visit UK and America goes to visit Holland, and Holland comes to UK and India comes to UK. It's just completely amazing. So today I wanted to talk about a couple of things. One is based on two verses. Two things based on two verses. One is Yashak Prasadat Bhagavat Prasadat Yashak Prasadan Nagati Kutopi. One who pleases the spiritual master, Krishna is pleased, and such a disciple makes significant advancement in bhakti. And one who displeases the spiritual master, as Charachandrika Didi mentioned, so this Vyasa Puja is for pleasing Srila Gurudev, not only today, but always. But it's a reminder of pleasing Gurudev externally and internally. So one who displeases the spiritual master, his spiritual whereabouts are unknown, or he's nowhere. So I want to share what I heard from Gurudev in relation to several histories of disciples who have pleased and displeased their Gurudev. And then the other verse, Yashadevi Parabhaktir Yatadeve Tataguro Tasyaite Katita Yarta Prakashante Mahatmana. One who has implicit faith in the Supreme Lord and his pure bhakti. Actually, our Srila Prabhupada said Parabhakti Yasha Parabhakti Yasha Deve Parabhaktir. It means Raganuga Bhakti. So one who has implicit faith both in that bhakti and in Sri Guru, and Srila Gurudev said even more in Guru than in the Supreme Lord. To him, all the knowledge of the Vedic literature is revealed. When I first met Srila Gurudev, I told him back in 1992, I have so much intellectual knowledge of the philosophy, and I give classes all over the world, but I have no experience of what I'm saying. I have only intellectual understanding. So at that time, I thought he was going to say, well, intellectual understanding is something, but it's not everything. But instead, he said, intellectual understanding is no understanding. And when Sri Guru is pleased by the implicit faith of the disciple, then all the Vedic knowledge is revealed as reality. So I want to share for a few moments how Srila Gurudev enhanced our intellectual understanding of the philosophy by going deep into everything that I had learned before regarding various verses, various concepts. And I'm waiting for his being merciful to reveal what he taught. That is, he told us when he came to America, to Badger in 1996, that the father keeps a bond for the little children when they're very young, but they have no access to that bond at that time because they would misuse it, that vast amount of money, like buying 1 million pieces of bubble gum or whatever. So therefore, that bond is kept in a vault. And then when the child comes of age, 18 or 21, then they get that bond because they'll be able to spend it responsibly. So Gurudev said, our Srila Prabhupada left us a bond. And in his books, everything was there, but hidden, like in a vault. So Srila Gurudev opened that vault. He's giving us the key to understanding Srila Prabhupada's books, the shovel, he said, to dig deeply into them, and the torchlight to see them more clearly. His books are like a majorly big treasure chest that was open for everyone. But within that treasure chest, there's a smaller treasure chest that has more valuable jewels. And for that, the key is given by the Bhakta Bhagavad. The key to the Grantha Bhagavad is with the Bhakta Bhagavad. So for example, my god sister Aditya introduced me to Srila Gurudev as a international preacher. So he said, oh, international preacher? Then can you tell me the meaning of this verse? Sarve pungsa paro dharmo yato bhaktir hoksaje hoitakiya pritihataje natma suprasidati. That is, the highest religion of humankind is to engage in uninterrupted and unmotivated, causeless devotional service to Lord Adhoksaja, that is Krishna, who is beyond the material senses. And only such uninterrupted, causeless service can fully satisfy the soul. So he asked me, what does that mean? The only thing I remembered, could think of, was that in Prabhupada said in World War II, all the wives, mothers, sisters went to the church and begged that their husbands, brothers, sons, and so on would come back well. And then when they didn't, because there was a material cause in their going to the church, they said, oh, God is bad or God is dead, and they became atheists. So I had the negative. And Gurudev said, no. Who is the best example of causeless, unmotivated, and uninterrupted service? So I took a wild guess because I already knew what he wanted to give us, at least a drop, because it was back in 1992. Radharani? He said, yes, Radharani. How is her service causeless? So I said, how is it uninterrupted? What's so great about it? I said, well, she's always trying to please Krishna without any motive. In other words, I didn't know anything. So he said that here's how. Although Krishna is dancing with billions of gopis, and he tells each one of them, I love you the most. Radharani knows that, but instead of her love decreasing, it increases, and her service increases. Then after Krishna left Vrindavan, he married 16,108 queens. Each one had 10 sons and 1 daughter. And then his grandchildren expanded to 1 million. But instead of, Radharani knew that, but instead of her love decreasing, it increased. He said, this is causeless devotional service. What is causeless devotional service? Krishna is serving the gopis, and the gopis are serving Krishna. But Krishna is serving more. He's decorating, he's at the feet of, he's begging mercy from Radharani and the gopis. This is the highest meaning of Save Pungsam Paro Dharmo. And how much service? 24 hours a day, ever increasing. Although the service is already unlimited, it's ever increasing. For how long? You have a life, he told me, of 100 years at the most, but their life is eternal. And that is ever increasing unlimitedly. But this verse, Save Pungsam Paro Dharmo, it's at the almost at the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and therefore the highest meaning of this verse is not given until the 10th canto. Then he said, do you know what the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam means? Janmadishiyaton Vayad Ituritas Chates Abhigyan Swarat. Well, I couldn't answer very well. So Gurudev said, so you've heard of this verse, of course. So what is Janmadiyasya? Of course, the general meaning is that the absolute truth is the cause of all creation, the cause of all maintenance, the cause of all destruction. He's conscious indirectly and directly of all material things, that he's beyond it. All the demigods are bewildered by thinking that this world is real. And I worship that absolute truth, who is forever living in his own abode, which is always free from illusion. So he said, what is that? That's the source of all existence. What is that? Janmadi Yasya. That is Sringaras or Brajrasasya. The love of Radhika is the source of all creation of the whole material and spiritual worlds. It's not clear even in Srimad Bhagavatam. And what's not clear in Srimad Bhagavatam is there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but still it's not clear. So I said, so then where is it? Where is that explanation of this verse? So he said, 10th canto clarifies it. 10th canto, I said, where in the 10th canto? Oh, here, there. Chapter 21, chapter 29 through 35, chapter 47. But because this verse, Janmadiyasya, is at the very beginning of the Bhagavatam, only the general meaning is clear. So he said even that is not clear in the Bhagavatam. So then I thought, well, but the pure devotee is supposed to get everything from the Shastra. So I turned to Sripad Madhav Maharaj, at that time, Naveen Krishna Prabhu, and I said, so where did he get it? So Madhav Maharaj said, he got it from his heart and from the heart of the acharyas, like Srila Viswanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Jiva Goswami, Srila Sanatana Goswami, because the scriptures are not fully open, but the acharyas, who are gopis in that realm, they open up the thing. And then, of course, Gurudev, he opens it up even more by giving their meanings. So our acharyas, like I'm just speaking about Srila Prabhupada, everything is there in his books, but it's like a puzzle. What part fits in with what part, and what part fits in with what part? Gurudev explained that some things in the Acharya's books are meant for you now. Some things were meant for you 20 years ago, and some things are meant for you 20 years later. And how do you know which is what? By having the association of sadhu. Sadhu Sangha tells you now this is for you. Or in the Acharya's books, one thing is for one person and another part of the book is for another person. He explained to me, I said, I can't understand, for example, how we could have come from Mahavishnu, but we're part and parcel of Krishna. So he said, actually, you didn't come from Mahavishnu. You weren't created at any time. So I said, does that mean we were eternally in the body of Mahavishnu? He said, no, but it's like that, but it's not that, because no material words can be clearly understood. No mundane words can be understood by conditioned souls, because as you heard earlier, The Shastra comes from the sadhus. So the sadhus are liberated and they speak, but when it comes to the material world, it comes as mundane sounds, which are incomprehensible. Then he told me, just like we say, the peacocks are dancing. So Krishna's dancing and he's playing his flute and he looks so beautiful. His face is more beautiful than the moon. But you have absolutely no understanding of that because they're mundane sounds and we're filtering them through our mundane senses, which cannot touch transcendence. Or if I say, you're beautiful, but Radharani is so much more beautiful. She can't be understood by a comparative study. So we say words, but we don't really have any idea of what we're saying. Like now I'm speaking, but what am I doing? I'm just combining syllables, hoping that they sound at least intellectually comprehensible. He said, even when we say Baladev created the jivas in Goloka Vrindavan who know nothing but the service of Krishna, Brajendra Nandan, Shyam Sundar. And Baladev as Mahasankarshan created the jivas who are serving in Vaikuntha. But this is not actually fully true because all the jivas are eternal. They weren't created at any particular time. So how then to become qualified to have realization of all of these beautiful truths? So now I'm going to talk for a few minutes about various devotees who pleased their Gurudev and various devotees who didn't please their Gurudev, and thus what happened. Like, for example, there were certain of my godbrothers who were seeing Srila Gurudeva in the early 90s. And then when they got some ultimatum of a threat that they would lose all their money and disciples if they continued seeing Gurudev and didn't start blaspheming him. So they wanted to keep their money and men. And so they started blaspheming him and telling everybody, don't go and see him, or Prabhupada will reject you, you'll go to hell, so on and so forth. So what did Srila Gurudev say about that? Knowing that they're displeasing their Gurudev, he said, we were sitting at the airport with him one day, and he pretended that he was rubbing a saw across his thighs. And he said, they're cutting off their own thighs. And then he said, Krishna's very worried because Krishna's thinking, I've created so many hells, but I have not created a hell that's creative enough or bad enough for those who try to stop others from seeing the pure devotee. Then Parvati displeased her guru. Her guru was her Pati guru, that is Lord Shiva. She was in the Dandakaranya forest with Lord Shiva, and she saw Ram searching, Ha Sita, Ha Sita. And she said, I don't get it. Even I know where Sita is, but Ram doesn't know. So it seems he's not the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he seems like an ordinary human. So Lord Shiva told her, no, this is just a pastime. He's actually the Lord. And this is to invoke feelings of separation, which enhance meeting, and also to help the jivas. If you don't believe me, you can go and test him. So she said, so she went and she tested Lord Ram. She took the form, because she's Maya, so she could take any form. She took the form of Sita and she began walking in front of Ram. And she was thinking, well, surely he's going to see me and think that I'm Sita, and then he'll come to me and embrace me. And then I'll know that he's an ordinary human. But Ram just kept ignoring her. And then finally she stood right in front of him. So Ram said to her, oh, Parvati, oh, Sati, what are you doing here in the forest without your husband, Lord Shiva? And then she felt just terrible. And so she bowed down and offered her obeisances. And when she got up, she saw Sita Ram in every leaf and every atom of the forest. And then she bowed down again. And when she got up, she saw Ram going, Hasite, where are you? So she went back to her husband, Lord Shiva, and her husband said, so, did you test him? And did you see that I was right? And she said, no, no, Swami, I didn't need to test him because I believed you. So two offenses. One, she didn't believe him, and two, she lied to him. So at that point, there was a shower of flowers from the sky because Lord Shiva went into a meditation, and the demigods were very pleased. And what was that he was thinking? That, oh, she has come as my mother, as Sita. So now I will always and only accept her as my mother. So he did that for so many years. And he went into trance and she couldn't even associate with him. So finally, she gave up her body. She made fire come out of her body and left her body, and then took birth as Parvati or Himavati and performed severe austerities in order to again get Lord Shiva as her husband. So that's another case. Of course, we know that Sati or Parvati is a pure devotee, but just for our benefit, to show us the importance of pleasing Sri Guru, she performed that human-like pastime. Another example of a lady who did please her Guru is a disciple of Ramanujacharya. She and her husband were so poor that they shared one piece of cloth that was good enough to wear outside. And then when he would go out begging, because they were Brahmins, she would wear this like piece of rag in her house. So one day, Ramanujacharya came to her house with many disciples. And she asked him to rest for a while. And she became so worried that what to do? How am I going to feed my Gurudev and his disciples? Oh, I know. There was a lusty grocer, and he was always propositioning me. But of course, I always said no, because I'm a chaste wife. So what is the use of being chaste? And what is the use of this body if I can't please my Gurudev? So she went to the grocer and said, okay, if you give me everything that I want for my Gurudev and his disciples, then I'll come to you at night. So the grocer was overjoyed, gave her more than she asked for. She cooked a big feast for her Gurudev and his associates. And then they were resting, and her husband came home and he said, oh my goodness, what are we going to do to serve them? She said, no problem, I've already taken care of everything. So he said, how did you arrange that? She told him the story, and he said, okay, I'll take you. So before they went, she took some Mahaprashadam from her Gurudev, Srila Ramanujacharya, and brought that to the grocer. He said, how did you get here so late at night? She said, my husband took me. So then still he was determined, but then she gave him some Mahaprashadam from her Gurudev, and he was instantly changed. He fell at her feet weeping, I'm so sorry, please forgive me. And then he went to see Ramanujacharya, fell at his feet and took initiation from him and became a very nice devotee. So that's an example of pleasing. And Gurudev told then about Quresh, also a disciple of Ramanujacharya, who the Shaivites of that time, they were very vicious and they wanted to have a debate with Ramanujacharya. But Quresh forced his Gurudev to allow him to go. And then, although he won the debate, he was alone and they were many. So they plucked out his eyes and he became blind and then let him go. So blind, he was wandering, and finally he came to the village where his Gurudev was there. And he told his Gurudev what happened, and his Gurudev touched his eyes and they came back, and he gave him all benedictions. You might have heard the story of, you heard about Srila Gurudev himself in one of the offerings, that when Srila Gurudev first went to his Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj, he said to him, all the love that I have for my wife and my mother and daughters, sons, I'm taking it out from them and giving it all to you. So Gurudev said his Gurudev wept. He was so pleased that he wept. And he said, nobody has ever said that to me before. And then later, after his Guru Maharaj departed, when he used to always ask his Guru Maharaj question, but now he was translating on his Guru Maharaj's order. He was translating the books of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur from Bengali to Hindi. And when he couldn't understand something, he said, so I just called out, oh, Gurudev, please give me the understanding of the deep meaning of what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was actually saying. And immediately, all the realization would come. And of course, his own Gurudev was so benedicted by putting his life in his own hands to save the life of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, when the Sahajiyas and Caste Goswamis were throwing rocks and broken soda bottles to try to kill Srila Prabhupada due to their envy of his popularity. And of course, we know how he got all benediction. Not that his Guru Maharajas needed protection, but just as a human-like pastime to show the sacrifice of a pure disciple and the benediction of a pleased Gurudev. Upamanyu is also another example who pleased his Gurudev. He was taking care of the cows of his Gurudev, and one day his Gurudev said to him, you know, Upamanyu, you're so stout and strong. What are you eating? And he said, well, after the cows feed their calves, I take the leftover milk. Who has told you to take that milk? These are my cows, not yours. Don't take that milk. But he didn't tell him what to take. So then a few days later, he told Upamanyu, you know, you still look pretty stout and strong. What are you eating now? He said, well, I don't take that milk anymore. But when the cows are chewing their cud and there's foam on their mouth, so I take some of that foam. Have I told you to take that foam? These are my cows. Don't take the foam. But he didn't tell him what to take. So after a few days, noticing that Upamanyu did not come back, he went looking for him. Upamanyu, where are you? Where are you? And Upamanyu called back, oh, Gurudev, I'm here in this well. Gurudev was imitating him. And what are you doing in the well? And he pulled him out. He said, well, I didn't want to take the milk. I didn't want to take the foam. But I was so hungry. So I drank the milk from these leaves, particular leaves, but actually that milk was poison and I became blind. So I fell in the well. So his Gurudev immediately gave him back his eyes and made all Brahmagyan come in his heart so that he became immediately a pure, self-realized soul. The same with Aruni. Aruni was told by his Gurudev to go and make a dam because it was very cold and rainy, and he was worried that his agricultural crops would be destroyed. So Aruni tried and tried and tried to put the mud and the bricks together, but they kept being washed away by the rain. So he himself lied down and became the dam. And so he was practically dead because it was freezing and it was raining. So the next morning, his Gurudev said, Aruni, where are you? I'm here, Gurudev. So I had to, why didn't you come back? Because I didn't want to come back without making a dam for you. So I became that dam. And his Gurudev immediately, again, blessed him with all Brahmagyan. So he became a fully self-realized soul. Now, somebody who didn't please his Gurudev, time is almost over, who didn't please his Gurudev is Karna. Karna, as you know, he was born from the sun god, but somehow or other he was brought up by a Sudra couple, and then he was taken in by Duryodhan, and who Duryodhan accepted him as a great personality. So as the son of the sun god, he was a Kshatriya or a warrior, but he wanted to defeat and kill Arjuna and the Pandavas. So he went to his Gurudev and said, I'm a Brahmana and I want Brahmagyan from you. I want Astragyan. I want to learn how to say mantras that will fire astras or weapons. And I want to please you. So he was working very hard to please his Gurudev in many ways. But one day, when his Gurudev fell asleep on his lap, his head was on Karna's lap. In the meantime, this awful bug came and drilled a hole in his leg, and there was gushing blood. So he didn't want to get up because he didn't want to disturb his Gurudev's sleep. But his Gurudev woke up as soon as the blood hit his face. So his Gurudev said to him, you are a liar. You lied to me and told me that you're a Brahmin. Now I know that you're a Kshatriya, because even with all the qualities that a Brahmana has, even with all the qualities that a Brahmana has, he cannot tolerate pain. But you've tolerated this excruciating pain. So although I've already given you the mantras for the astras, at the time that you most need it, all will be taken away. So during the Kurukshetra war, Arjuna was able to kill him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to kill him. He was so powerful, Karna, being the son of the sun god. But because he displeased the spiritual master, he was helpless and he died. So Yashak Pushadat Bhagavat Pushado, Yashak Pushadat Nagati Kutopi, and Yashadeve Parabhaktir, Yatadeve Tataguro, Tashaite Katita Hyarta, Prakashante Mahatmana. So such is the power of Sri Guru. By his mercy, everything happens. Is my time up now, Manani?
Yeah, yes, it is, Didi, but it's been so wonderful. I mean, thank you so much for all of that those beautiful examples of Guru Nista, and also what happens when we go astray from Guru. Very important remembrances. And, you know, His Grace Mukunda Prabhu, I happened to catch him yesterday. He spoke specifically on that verse about Bhagavat Prasada and what that really is. And it's very wonderful for you to be reiterating that for us here and bringing all of these remembrances to our heart. May we all have Guru Nista, because we know that to try is bhakti, but everything is really done by Srila Gurudev. So, Hari Bol.